A federal agent shot and killed a woman during a large-scale immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis.
It began with a single gunshot in South Minneapolis. To the public, it looked like controversy. An ICE agent, surrounded by a hostile crowd during an enforcement operation, fired his weapon. A vehicle accelerated toward officers in what authorities later described as a deliberate attempt to maim or kill. The driver, a 37-year-old woman, was neutralized. The media immediately framed the incident as excessive force. Protests erupted. Vice President J.D. Vance publicly defended the officer, stating, "The reality is that his life was endangered, and he fired in self-defense." But federal authorities weren't focused on the headlines. They were focused on the phone recovered from the driver's vehicle. That single device unraveled a secret protected for nearly a decade. The driver wasn't a random protester. She was a courier for a convoy group, a mobile security unit serving a criminal network that had turned Minneapolis into a fortified hub. 3:12 a.m. South Minneapolis. While the city slept, believing the unrest had ended, the real operation began. Unmarked federal vehicles cut their lights and moved into position around a 14-story hotel near the interstate. This wasn't a shelter. Intelligence identified it as a barracks. Within seconds, the perimeter was sealed. Exits were locked down. Elevators were frozen between floors. Stairwells were secured by armed teams from ICE, DHS, and the DA moving fast and low. Federal agents opened the door. Doors were breached without warning. Flashlights cut through dark hallways as commands echoed. Occupants were forced to the ground, hands visible. Rooms were cleared one by one. The operation moved upward, floor by floor, leaving no blind spots. In less than 45 minutes, federal agents detained 236 illegal immigrants.
The Department of Homeland Security says that during the past 5 weeks, 2,500 illegal immigrants have been arrested in Minneapolis.
The hotel bust and debt bondage. Nearly 180 of the detainees were Somali nationals. Interviews revealed a system of debt bondage. The cartel didn't just smuggle them, it owned them. Passports were confiscated upon arrival. Any attempt to flee was met with threats of violence against families back in Somalia. They were forced to work as mules and lookouts to pay off a debt that was mathematically impossible to clear. The hotel wasn't a sanctuary. It was a prison camp disguised as charity. As agents tore through the rooms, the investigation shifted from immigration to narco-terrorism. Luggage revealed false bottoms. Ceiling panels hid envelopes of cash. Agents recovered 127 forged passports and stacks of prepaid burner phones. Then the discovery turned darker. Maintenance rooms and locked suitcases contained 39 firearms, including loaded pistols and assault-style rifles. Alongside them were bricks of cocaine and fentanyl, packaged not for personal use, but for industrial distribution. Cash seizures climbed past $4 million before sunrise.
Federal agents take down more than a dozen people connected to a drug trafficking ring in a coordinated effort with the FBI, DEA.
Judge and lawyer arrested and zoning corruption. This hotel wasn't housing refugees. It was an armed distribution hub for a cartel. As detainees were processed, biometric data began flagging terror watch lists and criminal databases. But the most shocking discovery wasn't physical, it was digital. Data analysts correlated numbers from the burner phones. All trails led to two individuals who did not fit the profile of street criminals. Khalif Nurul, a 45-year-old Somali-born judge with a spotless public record, and Hadan Alaner, a 42-year-old licensed immigration attorney. Publicly, they were community pillars, advocates for justice and integration. Privately, investigators believed they were the architects. The judge delayed warrants. The lawyer filed motion after motion to stall investigations. They used positions of trust to turn the justice system into a protection racket for international drug traffickers. At 8:21 a.m., surveillance teams at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport observed movement. Khalif and Hadan arrived separately, carrying minimal luggage. Newly issued passports. One-way international tickets. No statements. No lawyers. To federal agents, the behavior was unmistakable, guilt in motion. At 8:27 a.m., just before boarding, agents converged. The arrest lasted 22 seconds. No resistance. No speeches. Just handcuffs snapping shut in the departure hall.
ICE agents continue to work around the Twin Cities detaining people, and one raid took place in a very public way at a Target in Richmond.
The mayor admits guilt. With their detention, the network lost its shield. Within hours, prosecutors approved expanded warrants. Financial trails once blocked by judicial interference were suddenly unlocked. What emerged was a corruption ecosystem far larger than two people. At 4 a.m. the next day, federal warrants went live across 6 states: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, and Michigan. More than 1,200 federal agents mobilized. This was Operation Iron Fortress. Roads were sealed. Power grids monitored. The operation unfolded with military precision. In northern Minnesota, a reinforced door was blown inward at a rural compound. Armed lookouts scattered before flashbangs collapsed resistance. Short, violent gunfire followed. 2 suspects were shot while resisting arrest. In Milwaukee, a converted auto shop became a battlefield. A suspect fired from an elevated platform. Agents returned fire and neutralized the threat. Inside, pallets of drugs stacked shoulder-high, cocaine bricks stamped and sealed, fentanyl vacuum-packed by the kilogram. By day 1's end, 412 arrests. By day 2, over 640. Convoys rolled out with tons of cocaine and methamphetamine. Safes yielded tens of millions in cash. The DA announced its largest meth bust in U.S. history. But the investigation led higher. Court filings revealed direct links to the Somali-born mayor of Minneapolis. Evidence showed he provided political cover, delayed enforcement, manipulated zoning laws, and financially benefited from cartel operations. Warehouses were designated community development zones, shielding them from inspections and lowering taxes. City contracts were awarded to shell companies owned by the network. Taxpayer money subsidized the very trucks moving fentanyl. Faced with wiretaps and financial ledgers, the mayor's legal team signaled intent to admit guilt. He wasn't a bystander. He was a participant.
23 search warrants, 19 of which we executed simultaneously.
The network operated for nearly 10 years, moving hundreds of tons of narcotics. It fueled a 300% spike in fentanyl deaths across key neighborhoods. It remained untouchable because those running it wore robes and held gavels. As political and judicial cover collapsed, the investigation turned inward, to law enforcement. Interrogations aligned. Names repeated. Payments matched bank records. Phone logs linked officers to vehicles that should never have passed inspection. Within 72 hours, internal affairs moved alongside federal prosecutors. By week's end, 12 police officers were arrested. Some ignored traffic stops for cash. Others leaked raid schedules. One admitted escorting narcotics vehicles under the guise of routine patrol. Then came the name no one expected, a sitting police chief. Investigators alleged he accepted regular payments to redirect manpower and suppress complaints. Emails showed deliberate interference. Complaints were buried as clerical errors.
Welcome back. The Trump administration is taking a strong stance in the war against drug cartels.
Police chief and shadow dockets. The investigation exposed shadow dockets, off-the-books files where citizen complaints were erased. A grandmother reporting a drug house. A teacher flagging suspicious vehicles. Deleted. The police chief hadn't ignored crime, he erased the public's cry for help. The betrayal ran deep. Municipal officials approving suspicious contracts and immigration consultants funneling clients into the network were swept up. Prosecutors used one word repeatedly: ecosystem. Once arrests began, change was immediate. Sirens faded. Helicopters disappeared. Corners once ruled by dealers fell quiet, not from fear but because supply collapsed. Within 30 days, overdose admissions dropped nearly 40% in key hospitals. Without protection from judges and police, the network couldn't survive. Assets were frozen. Properties seized. Courtrooms once ruled by Khalif now spoke his name only in conspiracy. The mayor's admission sealed the collapse of sanctuary corruption. This operation proved a hard truth. Institutions don't fail all at once. They erode, one ignored warning at a time. Justice cannot be outsourced to titles or uniforms. It depends on vigilance.